Welcome to my virtual world. I'm Marie and it's so lovely to be with you. Practicing yoga with the wall can bring a whole new nuance to your yoga practice. It can be particularly valuable for balancing, inverted, standing and restorative poses. As well as giving stability and a sense of alignment, we learn how to work in the poses at a different level. When we have the wall for stability in balancing poses, we feel safe and supported, and so can bring our attention to the requirements and postural alignment of any given pose. Don't for 1 minute think working with the wall is a doddle. You'll soon notice how different and often how much harder we work when using the wall to observe perfect postural alignment, because we can't cheat. There are so many different ways of working in yoga with a wall. So many different ways that I could spend every one of these viral videos just doing wall work. But there is way too much other stuff that I'd like to cover in this lockdown time. So today we will just do a brief wall session that will give you a whole body and thorough practice. Finding a workable wall in your home might be a challenge because of furniture and wall hangings. It is inside my home. That's why I come outside when I need a full height wall space. Be creative and know every home has a door you can work up against. But if you are working up against a door and you have other people at home during your practice, do leave a note on the other side to alert other residents you will be that you're working behind the door. You'll be able to relax far more readily knowing that nobody's going to push in through that door. Your blocks, folded blanket or towel and a belt at hand. If you are tight in the legs and hips, you will probably need a belt for this practice. So when you've got everything ready, let's use this valuable time to move, motivate and meditate. So settle yourself on your mat. You want your bottom to be a shin distance away from the wall, so that when you bring your feet up to the wall, your ankles are in line with your knees and your knees are directly over your hips, so that the shins and the thighs are forming a right angle with each other. Feet and legs hip width apart, toes pointing up, heels pointing down. Just relax here. Moving the shoulders away from the ears, lengthening the back of the neck along the floor without flattening the back of the neck. You may choose to have a folded blanket under the neck and head. This is a fantastic position in its own right for relaxing muscles and organs of the abdomen, the lower back, and it's great for refreshing tired, sore, achy legs. We did this in our video number 4, Align, but in that video we had the legs over the chair. It's just as valuable to bring your feet to a wall. I want you to just pause here, making sure the back of the pelvis is in fact grounded on the floor and that you've got even distribution of weight through the back of the pelvis, the back of the shoulders, the back of the arms. And we'll start by opening the shoulders first. So bring the arms to the side of the trunk, and as you breathe in, reach the arms as far overhead as you can without strain. And on the breath out, circle the arms out to the side and down, keeping the arms as close to the floor as your shoulders will allow. Let's do a few of those. Breathing in, up and over, breathing out, circling out to the side and down. Once more, breathing in, up and over, breathing out, circling the arms out to the side and down. Let's do that in reverse. This time as you breathe in, circle the arms out to the side and up. And as you breathe out, push the arms forward and down. Breathing in, out to the side and up. Breathing out, forward and down. Last time. Breathing in, out to the side and up. Breathing out, forward and down. This time as you breathe in, bring the arms up to shoulder level. Just relax those shoulders down, bending the arms at the elbows if your shoulders will allow, to form those cactus arms. And on the breath out, push the forearms and palms down towards the floor at the side of the hips. And as you breathe in, bring the arms back over in line with the head. As you breathe out, keeping the arms as close to the floor as possible, bring the fingers to touch above the head, diamond arms. Breathing in, pulling down to shoulder level. Breathing out, bringing the elbows, forearms and palms to center. Forearms and hands parallel with the floor. Let's go again. Breathing in, open the elbows and forearms wide, cactus arms. Breathing out, forward and down with the forearms. Breathing in, over and back. Breathing out, fingers to touch above the head, diamond arms. Breathing in, back to cactus arms. Breathing out, elbows, forearms, palms to center. Let's go one more time. Breathing in, cactus arms. Breathing out, forward and down. Breathing in, back and over. Breathing out, fingers to touch, diamond. Breathing in, coming back to cactus arms, that right angle. Breathing out, elbows, forearms, palms together. Interlock the fingers here. Push the knuckles up to the ceiling. Pull the shoulders down towards the mat. Lock out the elbows. Breathe in. How far over can you take the locked out arms? Breathing out. Push the knuckles back to the vertical. Let's do a few of those. On the breath in, taking the arms over. On the breath out, back to the vertical. Breathing in, coming over. Breathing out, back to the vertical. Keep going. Know that we're realigning the shoulders, neck and head. Keep the fingers moving along your center line. And on the next breath out, pause. Turn the palms out now, seeing if you can keep the elbows locked. Breathing in, how far over can you take the arms? Breathing out, this time bring the thumbs all the way down to the pubis. Breathing in, all the way up and over. Breathing out, all the way forward and down. Last time. Breathing in, all the way up and over. Breathing out, all the way forward and down. Pause to change the interlock, to bring the less dominant forefinger to the front of the pile. Turn the palms out again, and let's do 3 more deep breaths in and out. Breathing in, coming all the way up and over. Breathing out, all the way forward and down. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last time. Breathing in, all the way up and over. And on the breath out, make that the last chest pump. Release the hands and just relax them out to shoulder level. And again, just walk those shoulder blades down and lengthen the head. And just relax in this position, just resetting and feeling that perfect postural alignment. From here, we're going to move to the pelvis now, turning our attention to the hips. I want you to straighten that right leg to the vertical without pulling the pelvis off the mat. So you might have to keep the knee bent. Start by rotating the foot at the ankle. 3 slow, deliberate rotations one way before doing 3 slow, deliberate rotations the other. And after your rotations, do that heel toe pump, that lymphatic pump. Stay here, breathing and pumping the leg. As you push the toes forward, scrunch them. As you pull the toes towards you, fan them. And on the next reach into the heel, let's pause and let's see if we can, in fact, straighten that leg up to the vertical, bringing the thighs level. Can you take hold of the back of the thigh? You might need a belt here. It's demonstrated. Round the foot. If the stretch left, start to slide the hands up the back of the leg. Remember, don't bring the leg any closer to the trunk if it means you've got to bend it. Keep the leg as straight as possible. Keep the back of the neck long, the shoulders relaxed, the hips, the back of the pelvis grounded, the hips level with the wall. On the next breath out, curl the head to look down your center line as you draw the leg towards the head, lifting the trunk towards the leg. Breathing in, lengthen the head and the shoulders down. We're going to bend that right leg out to the right side of the trunk now. And we're going to bring the knee as close to the floor at the side of the trunk as it will go. Reaching the right hand up the inner shin to hold the shin or the ankle or maybe the foot. Can you bring the fingers round the outside of the foot if you can hold the foot? This is the half beetle pose. And I can guarantee that you will have lolled over to your right side and that the back of the left side of the pelvis will have lifted off the floor. Now, can you bring weight into the back of the left side of the pelvis so you've got even distribution of weight again through left and right sides? Can you feel how that's lifted the knee away from the floor? Keep that right shin vertical, heel pointing to the ceiling. Stay here and breathe, keeping the back of the pelvis grounded, the neck long, being really easy with this. This is fantastic for opening up the hips and the back of the pelvis. From this position, we're going to bring the outer right ankle, steer it round to the top of the left thigh at the knee. And we're going to open the right knee and shin towards the wall. You can use your hand on the outer thigh or knee to encourage that leg to go to the wall. And again, observe how because you've turned your leg out of the hip, at the hip, you've leaned over to the right once more, pulling the back of the left pelvis off the floor. Now use your left leg to anchor you to the wall and steer that left hip down towards the mat. Can you feel how that gives you a different opening in the hips now? Stay there and breathe into that right hip and buttock. Just stay there breathing. Now for some of you, this is perfectly strong enough. There will be others that can do the full pose. So if you're wanting to, just thread your right arm through the triangle between the legs and take hold of the back of the left thigh with both hands, pulling the left foot away from the wall, pushing into both heels, pulling the toes towards the knees to switch on the shins. Let's just draw that left thigh into the trunk as you use your elbow to push the right thigh away. Maybe you'll have to, because of body shape, release the right hand to gently encourage the right thigh to move away from the trunk as you pull the left thigh towards you. Is the back of the neck still long? Are you able to breathe fully and deeply here? Now, if you want to go to the next stage of the pose, and you don't have to, take a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, curl the head towards the right shin. Stay here and breathe if you can, drawing that left thigh into the trunk as you push the right thigh gently back away from you. On the next breath in, lengthen the head back to the floor and bring both feet to the wall so we can look at that series on the left side. Before we move to the left side, let's just pause to center and establish that aligned, symmetrical position with both feet or the ankles in line with the knees, both feet tracking up to the ceiling, toes to the ceiling, heels to the floor, thighs parallel, feet parallel, hip width apart. Back of the pelvis grounded, neck long, shoulders relaxed. Just pause here, keeping the upper body really passive, face soft, jaw relaxed. Let's reach the left leg up. It might not move fully to the vertical. Keep it fairly soft while we do our ankle rotations. Let's start to rotate the left ankle. Remember, you're just rotating the foot at the ankle, not moving the shin. At least 3 rotations one way before moving in the opposite direction. And when you've done your ankle rotations, and I hope you didn't rush them, let's do that heel, toe, pumping action with the front foot. Really reaching into the heels, pulling the toes towards you, fanning the toes before pushing the toes away, stretching through the front of the leg, the front of the foot and the ankles, scrunching the toes. And then pause with a reach into the left heel, seeing how straight you can make that leg. Maybe you can bring it to the vertical. Maybe you need a belt around the foot. Keep the neck long, the shoulders relaxed. Remember, you don't need the upper body to do this. So keep as many of those muscles relaxed as you can. There's muscles that don't need to be switched on. Now from here we're going to see, can we draw that left leg any closer towards the trunk without bending the knee. Sliding the hands up the back of the thigh towards the shin. There are some that might even be able to hold the foot. But make sure that the back of the pelvis has remained grounded. The neck is long and the shoulders are relaxed. Wherever you are, be really easy with it. Breathing through the back of the leg. Feeling if one leg is much tighter than the other. On the next breath out, if you want to, curl the head to look down your center line. As you draw the leg towards you with each breath out, curl the head and the trunk up towards the leg. Breathing in, lengthen the head down. I want you to bend that left knee down towards the left side of the trunk, bringing the knee towards the floor, towards the armpit, the left armpit, keeping the foot looking up at the ceiling and the shin vertical. Reach that left hand up the inner shin, and if you can hold the ankle, that's good, but if you can hold the foot, take hold, bring the fingers around the outer edge of the foot. Now again, observe, did you lean over to the left? Is the right side of the pelvis lifting off the floor? Can you re-establish that even grounding through the back of the pelvis? Even if that left knee pulls away from the floor. Keep the left shin vertical. Keep the left knee hugging into the trunk. Stay here and breathe, seeing how much opening you can create by relaxing and letting go, not by pulling and forcing. Just use the breath to open up the hips. Being really easy with this. Is the back of the neck still long? Are the shoulders and jaw still relaxed? From here, we're going to bring the outer left ankle to the top of the right thigh by the knee. And we're going to switch on that left shin, pulling the toes towards the knee. Remember that there's a reflex link between the shin and the buttocks. So you'll really start to feel the stretch deep in that left buttock as you switch the shin on, the left shin on. Again, can I draw your attention to the back of the pelvis? If you've leaned over to one side, realign, bringing even distribution of weight through left and right sides of the pelvis. Keeping that right foot grounded into the wall so that you can keep that right hip grounded and open the left knee and shin towards the wall. Use the hand, but don't push and jam. Just go gently, encouraging the knee back rather than forcing the knee back. Really, you're just holding it so it doesn't drop forward. From here, is there more stretch left? Keeping the shoulders relaxed, the neck long. If you can, post the left hand through the triangle between the legs, taking hold of the right back thigh with both hands. You'll need to draw that right foot away from the wall. As you draw the right thigh towards you, push the left thigh and knee away, using either the forearm or elbow. And if your body shape doesn't allow that to happen, use your hand maybe. Again, you're not being forceful. It's more of an encouragement. Breathe here. Keeping the neck long, feeling opening in the hips and the buttocks. Feel that. If you want to go to the next stage on the breath out, can you draw the right thigh towards the trunk, curling the head up towards the shin as you push the left thigh away. Just breathing here in this thread the needle pose. And on the next breath in, just gently release both legs. Can you bend both knees to the chest now? And can you just gently rock from side to side? Just pausing to feel the back of the pelvis. And then let's roll over onto our side. And we're going to come into a simple cross-leg position with the wall. And for this, you need enough height under the pelvis to be able to sit upright with the pelvic bowl level, with the back of the pelvis to the wall, the back of the shoulders and the back of the neck to the wall. You might need to sit on a higher surface than just one folded blanket. It might need to be two. For those who've got a bolster, you might need your bolster. A block is okay. For those who are on a higher surface, you might need a block either side of your hips towards the wall. Have the block at the highest point. You can always go lower. And from here, let's just feel that position. We're going to do a side bend with the wall. And this will allow you to feel an aligned side bend. Often in side bends, when we bend to the side, we cheat. Some of us might tip the trunk forward, while some of us might take the trunk into a rotation back. With the wall, you go directly sideways, keeping the trunk aligned. So in order to feel that alignment, make sure the back of the pelvis is to the wall and the back of the shoulders are to the wall. And the ideal is to bring the back of the head to the wall. And again, some of you might find that really difficult. So you might just need a folded hand towel behind the head so that you can bring the head back to a surface. Don't have this surface behind so high that it's pushing your head forward though. And from here, move your shoulders down. And as you breathe in, can you reach the arms up towards the wall? Can you bring the thumbs back towards the wall, reaching into the fingers, keeping the arms active, reaching right into the extremities. Keep the shoulders down so that the neck is long. Feel how far away the arms are from the wall. Have you got straight arms or are you bending at the elbows? You might find that you need to form that V shape around the head, taking the arms wider in order to lock out the elbows. Can you bring the thumbs any closer to the wall without strain? Is the back of the pelvis still grounded? Are the back of the shoulders still grounded? Is the head moving back to the wall? Now, as you breathe out, let's move over to the right, bringing the right hand down to the block, keeping that left shoulder on the wall. Did you feel how the left shoulder and hand wants to pull away? Keep them back now. You might not come all the way down. You might have to have quite some height under the hand to keep that shoulder moving back. Don't let your trunk rotate forward. It can rotate forward, but the wall's preventing you from rotating back. Feel the squeeze on the right side as you breathe through the left side. And remember, you're gluing that left buttock to the mat. You're not rocking off your left buttock. You'll feel a delicious opening from the top of the pelvic rim through the waist and the ribs and hopefully under the shoulder blade and into the arm and fingers. As you breathe in, just pull all the way up. Just cross the legs the other way and we'll do the side stretch in the opposite direction. Again, feel your alignment, back of the pelvis, shoulders, head, moving towards the wall. Keeping the shoulders back. As you breathe in, reach the arms up. And again, can you open and lock out to the elbows? You might have to take the arms to form that wide V round the head. That's fine. Keeping the shoulders back to the wall, the thumbs moving back to the wall. Don't worry if they don't touch, but keep them moving back. Keep the arms straight. Don't worry if you don't go all the way. As you breathe out, we're leaning over to the left, bringing the left hand down towards your surface, either the floor or your block. Keep that right shoulder moving back to the wall, the right arm and thumb moving back to the wall, the back of the head moving back to the wall. Breathing through that right side, keeping the right buttock grounded, reaching out from the top of the pelvic rim, through the right side of the waist, the ribs, under the shoulder blade and through the arms. Feel the squeeze on the left side now. Breathe here. And on the next breath in, come back to center. Let's move from this position onto our hands and knees. Make sure you've got enough padding under the knees, and we'll just do a cat-cow curl to bring balance through our spine after all the asymmetrical stretches we've just done. Let's bring left and right sides of the body into alignment, back and front of the spine, left and right sides of the spine. Knees under the hips, hands under the shoulders. Spread the fingers, ground each finger and thumb pad, lengthen through the shins and the top of the foot. Make sure you're far enough away from the wall so your toes aren't jamming into it. And as you breathe in, push the tail up, pubis back, navel and ribs down, open the chest as you reach the chin forward. Don't jam the neck though. And as you breathe out, tuck the tail. Lift the pubis, navel, ribs and chest as you pull the chin gently in. Away you go. Breathing in, rippling and rolling into the arc. Breathing out, rippling and rolling into the hump. Just stay here and breathe. Don't be in a rush. We're not racing. Take about 5 to 6 seconds on the breath in, 5 to 6 seconds on the breath out. Feeling your spine mobilize. And then on the next breath in, bring your spine to a neutral line and just wag your tail. Keeping the upper body really still, let's start to push the hips from left all the way round in a big semicircle round to the right, but we're moving from the navel only. Breathe and wag your tail. Feel your spine. It should be one happy spine after what we've just done. And then break into a full circle with the pelvis, using the whole body now. 3 big circles one way, 3 big circles the other. Now from here, turn the toes under, walk the hands back towards the knees, and let's just come into that. We're transitioning into a standing position, hanging forward over the top of the legs, with the legs and feet hip width apart, toes tracking forward, heels pointing back. Let the upper body hang, keep the thighs parallel, keep the knees bent. And on the next breath out, let's gently roll the spine up, vertebra by vertebra, bringing the neck and head up last of all, rolling the shoulders down. And we're moving back to the wall, and we're standing with the wall in that perfect postural alignment, the mountain pose. And for this, we're bringing our heels to the wall. We did this pose again in the Align episode 4, using the wall to bring alignment through the body so that the body could feel and understand what perfect postural alignment was, not just on an intellectual level, but actually on a body intelligence level. So let's just feel the body in Tadasana with the wall. And the aim is to bring the heels as close to the wall as possible, but not so that you're in a position where you feel as if you're going to tip forward. Feet hip width apart, toes tracking forward. Back of the pelvis, back of the shoulders to the wall. And again, we want that head to move back to the wall. And it's not the top of the head that's moving back to the wall, moving back from the top of the neck, the bottom of the skull, the occiput area of the skull. Take it back towards the wall. Again, you might benefit from a folded towel round at the back of the neck and head to have the grounding. Just feel that the pelvis, you've got both left and right sides of the back pelvis evenly grounded into the wall, left and right shoulder blades evenly grounded into the wall, even distribution of weight on the feet. What we're going to try now is a balancing pose. And again, it's fantastic doing balancing poses with the wall because you can actually focus on your alignment because you're safe and stable. So what we're going to do is the tree pose. the classic yoga tree pose. And we're going to be turning our one leg out at the hip and balancing on the other. And what tends to happen in the tree pose is we tend to roll the pelvis. So the leg that's open at the hip out to the side, we let that buttock push back, and the leg that's grounded, that hip swings forward. Now what I want you to be aware of is as you come onto that standing leg and open the bent knee out to the side, you're going to keep the back of the pelvis level with the wall. You might not take the knee as far out to the side as you would if you were in the room. Remember, the wall doesn't enable you to cheat. It's really showing you what alignment is. So let's start by taking the weight onto our left foot and bringing our right foot to the inside of the left leg. Remember, you don't have to bring the heel all the way up to the pubis. Anywhere along the leg is fine. You can even keep the toes grounded and just bring the rest of the sole of the foot onto the ankle, opening that knee wide. Again, you might find for even more stability that you want your hands on the back of a chair in front of you. From here, open the right knee back towards the wall without twisting the left hip and buttock off. So keeping the back of the pelvis and the back of the shoulders grounded, just breathe here, keeping the tail tucking so that the pelvic bowl is level. We're going to try bringing the arms up. As you breathe in, move both arms all the way up. And again, we want to bring those thumbs back to the wall. And make sure, if you're tight in the shoulders, that you don't let the pelvis pull away from the wall to bring the thumbs back. Keep the back of the pelvis grounded, tail tucking, waist long. Breathe here, reaching into the fingers, pulling the shoulders down, neck long, seeing how much you can open through the inner right groin into the inner knee. Opening that knee back. Can you feel the opening that you've got through the front of the pelvis? Can you feel how much you've got to contract and work the buttocks and the back of the pelvis? From here, let's just lower the arms down and ground that right foot to the floor. You might even want to put them away from the wall and give your legs a shake. And let the arms flail. Make sure you're far enough away from the wall so you don't smack your hands before moving back to the wall for the other side. Often when we balance, we really do tense. So it's important to release that tension in between sides. Let's focus on that perfect postural alignment, that mountain pose, Tadasana. Heels as close to the wall as you can bring them. Pelvic bowl level. Back of the pelvis to the wall. Back of the shoulders, back of the neck and head to the wall. And just feel what's happening with those shoulders. You don't want the shoulders to be tense and held. The aim is to let the shoulders hang and relax down. Lengthening the neck. Relaxing the jaw, soft focus. Can you take the weight onto the right foot this time, bending the left knee, bringing the left foot to the inside of the right leg, keeping the back of the pelvis glued to the wall. Can you open that left knee out towards the wall without pulling the right side of the pelvis off? Feel how that really does open from the inner left groin to the inner knee. Feel how you've really got to work the back of the pelvis, the buttocks, to keep the pelvis stable and level. Now, keeping the tail tucking, you'll want to arc the back, especially if you're tight in the shoulders. As you breathe in, We're moving the arms, if you can, up overhead. Bringing the thumbs to the wall without shortening the neck. Keep those shoulders moving down. Neck long, jaw relaxed, head back to the wall. Stay here and breathe. Really ground into that right foot, but keep the toes long. Keep the ankle vertical. Don't roll onto the inner edge or even the outer edge of the foot. Stay breathing, grounding, opening. And on the next breath out, lower the arms down, relax the legs down, and again, walk away from the wall so you can kick, flick your legs and release any tension. And then just let the arms flail as you turn first one way and then to look the other, allowing the breath to settle. And from here, we're going to return to the half dog pose. Again, we introduced this for the alignment in the alignment video. We're going to have another look at this and we're going to take it to the next stage. So let's start by facing the wall and bringing the hands, the center points of the wrist, in line with the shoulders, with the outer shoulders. Remember, if you're tight in the shoulders, you might even want to take the arms wider than shoulder width apart, and that's fine too. Now for this, don't let the hands slide down the wall as you step back. I want you to feel that you're opening through the chest, from the back of the chest and the front of the chest, not just working the hamstrings. Let's walk the feet back, keeping the hands glued to the wall until our hips are over our ankles and our legs are vertical. You might really have to focus on the hips being directly over the ankles. Remember, there's a tendency to have the legs leaning in this one. Keep the legs vertical from the buttocks to the heels. Keeping the hands where they are, let's push the hands into the wall and push out into the outer hips like you would for dog down, lengthening and feeling the length through both sides of the trunk. Keeping the shoulder blades moving down the ribs towards the back of the waist, and open the armpits and the chest towards the floor as you reach the crown of the head towards the wall and push the tail into the room. Ground into the feet, and from that grounding down into the feet, lift into the sit bones so that you do in fact activate through the hamstrings at the back of the thighs. Feel it's a very dynamic pose. Remember, if you are very flexible, there's a tendency to thrust those lower front ribs down towards the floor. Don't thrust the lower ribs, contain them. Focus on opening the front of the chest and the armpits to the floor. Breathing here. Stay here, and I want you to feel that in this position, you've got equal length from the wrists through to the outer hips, through both sides of the trunk. Feel that the legs are hip width apart, with the outer ankles and the outer feet in line with the outer hips. Feel that the buttocks at the back are parallel with the bottom of your mat. Feel that the back of the pelvis is parallel with the ceiling, with the floor. And from here, push off from the wall if you can and stand up, remaining in that same position at the ground. And you're going to stride your right foot a stride forward and your left foot a stride back. You don't want the legs too wide unless you're very flexible, of course, but you want to keep those legs hip width apart. So you've just taken them forward and back, but they remain in that trajectory, that same hip width trajectory. So imagine that your feet are on tram lines and that your train track lines, and that the right foot's forward on one side and the left foot's back on the other side of the train tracks, with those hips directly over those tracks. You're going to steer your right hip and buttock back and your left hip and buttock forward, seeing if you can keep the hips over the track lines. Now from here, we're going to lift up through the back of the legs, and as you breathe out, you're going to hinge over the top of the legs, and as you breathe out, draw the abdomen in towards the spine to support it, bringing the hands towards the original shoulder height. So you don't want the arms too low down the wall. They might even be higher than they were, depending on how far away from the wall you are. The closer your feet are to the wall, the easier it is. The further away the feet are from the wall, the more challenged you'll be. I don't want you to be so far away from the wall that you can't keep that line of force from the wrists through to the outer hips. Now that we're here, let's open the chest as we did when our feet were in the half dog position. Steer that outer right hip and buttock back as you bring the left hip and buttock forward, so that the bottom of the buttocks are parallel with the bottom of their mat as they were for the half dog position, so that the back of the pelvis is parallel to the floor or the ceiling. Push from the hands, you're pushing those hands into the wall as you reach back into the outer hips, so that you can feel that both sides of the trunk are equal in length, and that the center line of the trunk is centered on the pelvis between the legs. Just breathe here, lengthening and opening, and knowing that this pose is deeply releasing the hips and the hamstring muscles while cooling and calming body and mind. Stay here, keeping that spine long, nice flat back, open armpits, open chest. And on the breath in, again, push off from the wall to pull yourself up into that standing position, keeping the legs wide, standing upright. Bring the hands onto the hips. Are your hips parallel with the wall in front of you? Now keep that left hip moving forward and the right hip moving back. Bring the right hand onto the right hip. Now don't let that left hip pull back. Bring it forward and round. Reach that left arm up to the vertical. Really anchor into that left heel and foot. And as you breathe out, let's lean over to the right. Breathe here. And again, be aware, are you twisting the trunk maybe backwards or forwards? Make sure it's a side stretch, keeping that left hip moving forward and the right hip moving back, so that the pelvis stays parallel with the wall. And on the next breath in, let's just gently pull up. And we're going to do exactly the same position on the other side. So just come into that standing pose. You can even judge or gauge your distance by coming back briefly into the half dog position, pushing off the wall and pulling up. Maybe you might find that you were too close to the wall, or not. You want to be wider, or you need to be a bit closer still. Adjust your distance, that's fine too. Stride your left foot forward and your right foot back. being aware of those imaginary train tracks, keeping the right foot and hip over the train track on one side and the left foot and hip over the train track on the other side. Steering that outer left hip back without pushing over to the right. And as you steer the left hip back, steer the right hip forward. We want the hips to be parallel with the wall. And if your hips won't come that far round, just turn at the waist to bring the chest parallel with the wall. And again, just relax the shoulders down for a minute and just pause here to feel that position. Neck long, be easy. Anchoring into the back foot now. Make sure you've got weight in the back foot. As you breathe in, reach the arms up. And on the breath out, we're going to hinge forward over the top of the legs, drawing the abdomen up towards the spine to support it, bringing the hands to the wall to around the original shoulder height. You might be slightly lower if you've got more flexibility. You might be slightly higher if you're tighter in the shoulders or chest. Again, I want you to be easy and comfortable so you can maintain the pose and breathe and relax and open here. Keeping those feet grounded, keeping weight in the back foot. You should feel a stretch through the through the back of that right calf, maybe through the front of the right thigh. You'll feel the stretch through the left hamstring as you steer the outer left hip back and bring the outer right hip forward. Remember, we're wanting to bring those buttocks parallel with the bottom of the mat and the back of the pelvis parallel to the floor or the ceiling, or both. Lengthening through the front and the back of the spine. Keeping this center line of the trunk centered on the pelvis between the legs. Opening the armpits and the chest without collapsing those front ribs towards the floor. Breathing here, reaching the crown towards the wall, the tail back into the room. Stay here, feeling that equal length from the wrists through the elbows, shoulders into the outer hips on both sides, equal length. You don't want that left side short and the right side long. Keep both sides equal in length. And from here, anchor into both feet and gently push off from the wall and come up into that standing position. Relaxing the shoulders down, neck and head in line with the spine, bringing the hands onto the hips. Now we're going to keep that left hand on the left hip and we're going to reach the right arm up, bringing that right hip round to the wall as you take the left hip back, only so that the hips are as level as they can be. Keeping that right heel anchored, the right foot anchored. I want you to breathe in and on the breath out, lean over to the left and breathe through that right side. Stay here, breathing and feel. Did you twist in the trunk? Keep that right shoulder on top of the left, not behind it or in front of it, so that you're moving directly to the side. Imagine the wall behind you. Breathing in, pull up. And then when you're ready, bring those legs together. Again, you might choose to do another kick, flick, shake to shake out any tension that you might be feeling and just flail the arms. And from here, we're going to come down to the floor again. And we're going to lie down and just bring our big toes to literally brush the wall. You don't want your big toes jamming into the wall, but I do want your big toes to feel the wall so that you know the feet are level. And you're going to have the heels pointing back and the feet hip width apart and knees bent up to the ceiling. And we want to be in a position where we can do a bridge pose with the toes level with the wall. This is a good position to bring the feet up onto a bolster if you have a bolster. Let's just feel for that perfect alignment with the outer feet in line with the outer hips. Again, feel and imagine that train track, and that you're perfectly aligned over the train track with your shoulders and your hips and your ankles and your feet all running along the tracks. Now from here, relax the shoulders down, bring the arms to the side of the trunk. Lengthen the toes, make sure they're not jamming into the wall. Ground into the feet. And on the breath in, just reach the arms over towards the floor behind the head. And on the breath out, as you lower the arms down, you're lifting the pelvis, waist, ribs and chest up. On the breath in, as you take your arms over, you're lowering the ribs, the waist and the pelvis down. Away you go. Breathing in, as the arms come up, the pelvis moves down. Breathing out, as the arms come down, the pelvis moves up. And the aim is to finish the movement of the upper body, the arms, with the movement of the lower body, the pelvis, at exactly the same time. Synchronize the two. Synchronize left and right sides. Keeping the feet tracking forward. Have they flipped out? Keeping the knees and thighs hip width apart. Stay with this rhythmic, moving and breathing bridge. Feeling for your alignment. And on the next breath out, as your arms come down and your pelvis lifts up, let's pause. Let's stay here and breathe. If you can, interlock the fingers behind the back. Don't jam the shoulders there. Ground as much of the back of the arm into the mat, the outer wrist and the little fingers as you can, keeping those feet grounded and the arms grounded. Can you see how much you can breathe and open through the front of the body? Reaching the knees and the front of the thighs gently towards the wall as you breathe the chest plate and the organs within the chest plate, the heart and the lungs towards the face. Don't let those lungs and those organs of the chest drop back to the back of the ribs. See if you can breathe them and lift them forward towards the face, towards the front of the ribs. And on the next breath in, just gently release those hands, opening them out so that on the breath out you can lower the ribs, the waist and the pelvis down. Bend the knees towards the chest. Hold the shins. Lengthen through the back of the neck. Relax the shoulders down and just gently rock from side to side. Feeling, breathing what's going on through the back of the pelvis, through the back of the shoulders, through the back of the waist, between the shoulders. Just feel, massage all those areas as you rock from side to side. And then you're going to just roll over to one side. And you're going to actually edge your bottom to the wall. Actually, before you do edge your bottom to the wall, you might choose to bring a folded towel or blanket about the length of your waist you want it, you might choose to bring that and have it available so that we can come more comfortably and it'll be more therapeutic. So what you want to do is you want to come back into that side position and you want to have the width of the blanket. The blanket needs to be, the length of the blanket needs to be lined up with the wall and your mat, the narrow end of your mat. And you want to have the blanket under the waist, the side of the waist, so that you can roll back and bring the back of the waist onto it in a moment. Edge your buttocks and that blanket, you might have to edge the blanket down as well to the wall. And when your buttocks are actually touching the wall, then it's time to throw the legs up. You're literally kicking up your feet. Kick your feet up the wall. Now, obviously, some of you are really quite tight in the hamstrings. So having the buttocks to the wall isn't going to be comfortable. You might have to edge your bottom further away from the wall so that you can straighten the legs. Alternatively, you might have to have the knees slightly bent, but I prefer your buttocks to be further away from the wall so that the legs are bent. But the knees, the back of the knees and the knees need to be comfortable in this if you are away from the wall, so be mindful of that. We want to be in that perfect right angle position with our legs lined up with the wall and the trunk and the back of the body lined up with the floor. But obviously, due to tightness, you might have a more obtuse position. Let's just stay here, feeling that the back of the body has even distribution of weight through it. The shoulders relax, the face is soft. Again, you might choose to have just a rolled, small roll face cloth under the back of the neck, or to keep that gentle arc in the back of the neck, or a folded blanket under the neck and head. Just pausing here, scanning the body for tension, feeling that perfect alignment. We want the legs to be active but not rigid. Can you reach into the heels and pull the toes towards you? Can you hug those legs in towards center, in towards each other? With that hugging in, gently push the front of the thighs back to the wall. And again, be mindful if you can hyperextend the knees, especially if your buttocks are away from the wall. We don't want to take the knees into hyperextension. Keeping the toes pulling towards you, check out that your big toes aren't pulling further away than your little toes, the big toes aren't pulling closer to you than the little toes. If they are, it's telling you that you're not reaching up the inner leg as much as the outer leg. So do just that. Reach up into the inner ankle, the inner heel and ball, and pull the toes evenly towards you. You don't want to have any part of the body switched on more than it needs to be. The aim is to relax within the extension, with face soft, jaw relaxed, legs actively reaching but not rigid, breathing flowing and easy. How much can you relax within that extension? How easy can you be with this? Relax, or let the eyes be heavy and sink back into the skull, and just lower the gaze and close the eyes for a moment and breathe here. This is a fantastically therapeutic pose. And you feel the blood flowing in the opposite direction down the legs. Know that this is boosting circulation, relieving tired legs, releasing tension, not just in the legs and feet, but also in the hip and the lower back. There should be no lower back discomfort. Come out of it if there is. And it's fantastic for boosting all the organs in the abdominal cavity. And there's a heap packed in there. But one of the fantastic things it does is it improves digestion, the whole of the gut, the whole of the digestive tract, from your throat through to your anus. It's fantastic for the large and the small bowel, intestine. Just stay here and breathe. Now from here, just open the eyes so you can be mindful of your alignment. You're going to start to bend the knees wide back to the wall and bring the soles of the feet together so that you bring the outer edge of the feet to the wall. Toes stay pointing up, feet stay along your center line, drawing the heels towards the pelvis. Don't race them down. Again, let's go slowly and gently, little by little. You're not jamming the heels towards the pelvis. Keeping the knees wide. You might again choose to bring the hands on the thighs, not to push the legs towards the wall, but more to stop the knees and the thighs falling into the room. We want to keep those legs opening back. We're not forcing or straining. We're just breathing here and observing that stretch and seeing if we can breathe towards any resistance, keeping the back of the pelvis grounded, the face soft, seeing how relaxed we can be within the pose. Come down gradually. See if you can come a bit lower as you create space. You're moving into the space that you're creating, finding your edge again. And once you've found that edge, just stay with it and breathe into it. Maybe you can push that edge a little bit further away to create more space to move into. Stay there. Breathing here, not being in any rush. Is the upper body still relaxed, even though your hands might be holding the thighs? From here, let's bring the legs back up the wall, back into that original position, that right angle position. Let's just realign, feeling the distribution of weight through the back of the trunk and the pelvis, feeling the alignment of the legs, reaching into the heels, actively extending into the feet without the legs becoming rigid and locked. Now from here you might choose to slide the heels down the wall, but if you're comfortable, try and draw the heels just a fraction away from the wall, literally a few millimeters away from the wall so that they're not grounded. And with strength and control, take a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, take the legs wide. Then bring the heels to the wall. Again, don't force. From here, can you draw the heels off the wall? Maybe you've got to slide the legs back. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, draw the legs back to center. We're going to do that twice more. Breathing in, opening the legs wide. Draw the heels off the wall if you can, breathing out, bringing the legs back to center. Last time we're going to hold. Breathing in, drawing the legs wide, bringing the heels to the wall. Now, let's pause here. Let's look at our alignment. This is important. Have you got more weight on one side of the pelvis to the other? Bring even distribution of weight. Is one foot and leg lower than the other? We want the heels to be the same height. Basically both legs equidistant from your center line. You might have to adjust. Maybe you can't take one leg or the leg that's higher lower down. Maybe you've got to bring the leg that's lower down higher up. Stay here and breathe. Keeping the legs active but not rigid. Reaching into the heels. Reaching into the outer ankle and the inner ankle evenly. Pulling the toes towards you. Pushing the thighs gently back towards the wall. Seeing how much you can relax in the upper body. Staying here and breathing. Seeing if you can create space. And remember, if you do, just gently edge into it. You're not pushing, you're not forcing. Be completely comfortable and easy, and let your body open at a pace that your body feels ready to open into. The more you push and jam, the more the body will resist. Opening up, not closing down. If you're still with me, let's gently, slowly breathe in. You might have to bend the knees at this stage and heel toe the feet back together, or you might be able to gently bring them back. Reach the legs up at the wall, and again, let's just realign in this position. With the legs reaching up the wall, with the back of the pelvis grounded, with the back lower ribs grounding, try breathing in and reaching the arms up above the head towards the floor behind you, bringing the thumbs towards the floor, reaching the fingers into the room, shoulders down, neck long, reaching out from center, pushing into the heels, reaching into the fingers. Breathe and reach out from center. On the next breath out, we're lowering the arms down, we're bending the knees towards the chest. We're holding the shins. And I'd like you to just bring the feet to the wall, buttocks, or the back of the pelvis to the back of the floor. And you're going to push the feet gently into the wall, and with the same amount of force, push the back of the pelvis gently into the floor. You're not using too much force, but feel the resistance of the wall with the feet and the floor with the pelvis. Just stay here, gently pushing into both as you breathe down to your tail, bringing energy right down the spine. Opening through the back of the pelvis, releasing the psoas. Now from here, open the arms out to shoulder level, keeping the shoulders moving down. We're going to move into a twist. You might choose to have a bolster or a block to one side. We're going to the right side first, so you might choose to have a surface there. We're not jamming into the twist. We're going to maybe keep our feet together and our knees together. You might have to edge the feet, heel toe them down to the right now. And the aim is to bring the outer edge of that right foot down to the floor, but keep the feet on the wall. It might not go that far. Keep both shoulders relaxed, the knees together. Again, don't jam into the twist. You might have to have the legs, the shins, the knees, the feet supported. Just breathe here. You don't have to take the feet all the way down. Breathe down to the belly, keeping both shoulders on the ground. Turning the head, if the neck's comfortable, to look down the left arm. Feel the support of the floor. Feel the feet supported on the wall. Breathe in, edge the feet back up to center. And just pause there, feeling the body centered. Now we're going to move all the way over to the left, edging the feet in that quarter circle down the wall from the center point, seeing if you can bring the outer left foot down to the floor, but keeping the feet on the wall, keeping the right shoulder grounded. Don't worry if you don't go all the way down with the feet. Ideally you should, if you're not all the way down. It's more restful to have the outer knee and thigh and shin supported, so you can relax and open into the twist. Breathing here, breathing down to the belly, feeling the torsion in the abdomen, in the diaphragm. Know that we're literally wringing out tensions that get trapped in this region. Just breathe here. Be easy, be gentle. Feel with the diaphragm in torsion, it's actually quite difficult to breathe. And on the next breath in, let's come all the way back to center with those feet. Pausing with the feet against the wall, the back of the pelvis against the floor. Shoulders relaxed, neck long, holding the shins. And once more, we're going to gently push both feet into the wall as you gently ground the back of the pelvis into the floor. Just be easy with this as you breathe down to the tail and lengthen through the back of the neck. And from here, let's roll over to our side and we're going to sit with the wall again, coming into a simple cross leg position. So make sure you have enough height under the buttocks to keep the top rim of the pelvic bowl level. We're aiming to be here for about 5 minutes, so you want to be completely comfortable. Remember, there are no prizes for sitting at ground level. Bring the back of the pelvis to the wall. Even distribution of weight through left and right buttocks, back of the shoulders, back of the head to the wall. The aim is not to hold the shoulders, but to relax them down, to let them hang. Knees comfortable. That might not happen unless they are supported with cushions or a roll under the ankles. Let yourself settle here. Lower the gaze and close the eyes. And begin to sense and feel from the inside. Tell your body that this is how seated alignment feels. Feel the chest is open and expansive, and the diaphragm has freedom to open and expand fully. Take some conscious breaths in and out. Take some deeper breaths in and out. Don't rush them or force them. Just be easy, really easy. Let go of trying. Instead, use that energy to observe yourself sitting with the wall. Where are you holding tension? Can you relax it without collapsing? You're not sitting rigid, tense, but rather sitting straight, upright, easy. You're using the wall for support and alignment. The wall's a prop, but not a prop to prop yourself up with, but more a prop to feel that perfect spinal alignment. If you feel yourself collapsing, gently use the wall to align. Be easy, be gentle, even though this may be challenging you. Feel how different sitting in crossed legs feels when you can't cheat and collapse the spine. Remember, like the standing pose that we did in the alignment series, this is fantastic for building muscle memory that can be drawn down on when you come to sit independently. Be easy, be present, breathe smoothly, evenly. The body needs to learn how to sit straight in a relaxed, easy way in order to do seated meditation without the body being a distraction. Only then can we turn our undivided attention to the nature of the mind. Could you stay here longer, or have you already peaked minutes ago? Don't judge. You are just observing the truth of the situation as it is now. Know to sit with ease in simple crossed legs for extended periods requires a level of flexibility, strength and stamina. Little by little, with a gentle, easy persistence, we can attain this. Are you still here, sitting with self? Being easy? Know that you've just sat for 5 minutes if you are. And don't feel you failed if you couldn't stay here for the full 5 minutes. We're going to gently move to a lying position now. So get yourself into a comfortable position where you can relax for Shavasana. Bring your feet away from the wall so that when you relax the legs, at least hip width apart, the toes won't be touching the wall. You may choose to have a roll under the back of the knees and a surface of folded blanket under the neck and head. Settle yourself into an aligned position and just melt. Just completely let go. And with each breath out, surrender yourself to gravity and give yourself to the earth. No holding on, no holding in, no holding back, just letting go, letting it all go. Gently observing this relaxation process, knowing there's nothing to do or undo, there's nothing to achieve, and there's nothing missing. Namaste, dear ones. Sending so much love. And remember, before the next viral video, 2 stretches every waking hour.